The time has finally come to begin the Pro Tier season on late night racing. And what better venue to do so at than the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. 14 corners, 2 DRS zones, and plenty of overtaking opportunities as Adesi from the McLaren F1 team will be showing us. Turns 1 and 2 offering the opening wheel-to-wheel opportunity on the track, and then it is through the middle sectors, turns 3 through 9 on the way to the infamous hairpin of turn 10. Don't get too eager here, though, as the DRS zone following allows the best overtaking opportunity into turns 13 and 14, but don't overcook it on entry or get too ambitious as the Wall of Champions waits for its next victim. It is a pleasure to join all of you here in Montreal at late night racing, farther on the soft tires or the mediums, or perhaps even try a one-stopper.
And just as they're lining up now, just a little shout for Tony Montana. Wasn't there at the 2 development rental races, so we don't actually have any data to go with him. He's in 10th in the McLaren, and let's see what he can do there. But best of luck for all the drivers for this race, and I'll let you take it away, Savage.
Absolutely. All of the cars now lined up on the starting grid, and the preparations are set. The lights coming on now there in the top left corner. 5 lights on, and we are off for the Canadian Grand Prix, the season opener for LNR Pro Tier, and we already have Ace getting a phenomenal getaway from his grid spot, and we are going to just try to catch all the action. The Ferrari of Alex Prix.
Reynolds gone off for the back. We're going to have maybe a safety car. Sorry to interrupt you there, but we definitely lost a car along the way. Went into the wall.
Absolutely, and that looks like Marino's down in 20th position. All the way at the back there. Not a great start to his race, ambitious as he is, the Greek driver, and we're going on board. We're taking a look at a teammate battle between Sam Capjay and Relapse, now into turn 8, under the bridge. Very careful not to take too late of an apex into this one as the entry runs wide, and not to run too much curb on exit. Still, the drivers running very closely to each other. Quad in a Racing Point sandwich, just tickling the rear end there of Adero. Adero, of course, losing out massively from his pole position on the starting grid, and Ace and Domi both jumping past him into the first 2 positions running. He won't have the grip advantage just yet, but it will come to him as the race progresses. Meanwhile, it looks like upset here in the Red Bull Racing, bottlenecking the cars immediately behind him, just ever so slightly. Anonymous making a move down the short straight onto turn 8. Reminder, there is actually a DRS zone here, and the cars, look at how hard they are cutting that the corner, the exit of 9. And that is essential in order to get a good run out of the corner, as the Haas of Moasir making a move down into the hairpin, but suffering a little bit of a twitch of the rear end and unable to capitalize there on the exit. And Impervious.
We've got a safety car. We have a safety car. I was trying to find out what that was actually. I think it's one of the Haas. I think, yeah, Anthem has actually gone. So we've got a safety car early on. So the person who made a bold prediction that we weren't going to have any safety cars on Twitch stream, yeah, I said it was bold and it wasn't right.
So many cars going into the pit lane now. Many of our drivers we can see switching the softs onto a new set of mediums, and this is both a good thing and a bad thing for Saku Cho, who we now see elevated into 4th position. He does get a lot of free spots on track as a result of the safety car, since he did not have to go into the pits, now running in 4th, and his tires are not significantly older than those chasing him. But this does potentially, well, it limits his strategical advantage later on in the race, as he's now in sync with a lot of our other drivers. We also see Relapse in the Alfa Romeo on a set of hards, as well as Sam Capjay, the Italian squad, using the identical strategies for their drivers now, and what is an alternate from the rest of the grid.
In Montreal. But yeah, it looks like it may have gone in.
It looks like we are racing, and we are off again, and it looks like Ace channeling his inner Valtteri Bottas, putting off the start just ever so slightly until after the exit of the final corner, and now Saku Cho making a very aggressive move past Anonymous, nearly colliding with the back of the AlphaTauri of Domi, but that is Saku into, it looks like, 3rd position, and some spots being shuffled around in the back as we have cars going 3 wide, 2 wide, into turn 3, and all emerging unscathed. That is Adero in 10th position, leading his own train behind a pair of Williamses, who are in turn stuck behind the Ferrari of Replica there. and these guys all on different tire compounds getting various success on their restarts. We're going to jump right back with Saku Cho now, who, although he got past Anonymous, the Renault driver, on the soft tire, giving Saku something to think about and forcing him to go defensive as opposed to chasing Domi in the front.
Oh, and El Jefe's gone off. He's been hit. He's had to cut the chicane. He's down in 19th place now. I'm not quite sure who he actually collided with, but someone's definitely missing a bit of a wing somewhere.
Your braking zone as far back as you can. Saku doing battle with Anonymous in the Renault still, as we have multiple battles going side by side on this track. Now, is the Renault driver going to try and move into turn 3? Quite a difficult one to pull off, and he slots behind. Meanwhile, Shonen running immediately behind Alex Parita, who looks to have potentially lost a few positions. Shonen, of course, clearing Tony Montana and Sam Katja in the final
big
lap.
crash now with Quad, and Riffler has gone off, and Alpha Tower has gone off as well. This is positions 3, 4, 5, and 6, which enable yellow flag in sector 2. And there's action going on all over the place. We're trying to flit everywhere to give you everything what's going on right at this moment in time, but we've just seen Quad and Larson move up to 4th and 5th, and they're doing pretty well for the Williams.
That's right, and Alex Parita in the Ferrari going off the track, getting way too ambitious with an attempted overtake into turn number 8.
Yes,
And Replica retiring as well, it looks like, on the way to turn 10, and a virtual safety car now interrupts all of the ongoing battles. We will go ahead and show you this incident really briefly now, as we see from Relapse's perspective, the Ferrari just going really deep here, and cutting the corner onto the runoff and losing a significant number of positions there.
You use these curbs well, and even with strict protocol, you can save some tenths here and there, but it's not going to be long until Shonen gets past Riffler, I feel.
Oh, and he is doing it right now as we speak, crucially behind the McLaren driver on entry into turn 10, making sure to take advantage of that DRS zone. Now, still staying behind, but surely both drivers will be able to open up their front wings, and Shonen getting a slightly weaker exit now comes under attack from Tony Montana, Reifler's teammate, trying to help out his fellow McLaren driver, but Shonen carrying so much pace down this back straight, now down the start-finish straight into the first corner. Surely this will be a move to the inside, but the McLaren driver brakes impeccably and takes his apex. Shonen has to stay behind him and bide his time for the time being. The wall now slowly through the final corner, and let's see, Reifler 1.7 seconds behind the car in front. He will not have DRS on this lap anymore, and let's see if Shonen can launch an attack. The McLaren driver moves super defensive to the inside. Look at the pace from the Racing Point driver into this final chicane, getting so very close to the wall of champions, but keeping it clean. Meanwhile, Adero, his teammate, all over the back of Quad in the Williams in first place. Of course, the Williams driver not having DRS off of any car, seeing as he is leading the race, but no dirty air for him either, and he keeps Adero behind. We're going to go on board with our leaders now as Adero sneaks a move past Quad, locks up ever so slightly into that final chicane, which gives Quad a good run to counterattack the Racing Point driver into the first corner. But crucially, Adero has the DRS and is able to maintain his position. Meanwhile, Saku Cho, having overtaken Sam Kapje, now going defensive into the first corner, using that DRS to keep in front. That is the Red Bull driver into 9th position. And Larson, it looks like disconnecting possibly, or maybe losing part of his car there. Oh my goodness. He is going off the track here. That might be some significant damage for our Williams driver, as he just, yes, that's the right side of his front wing, almost completely detached, and that is him collapsing out of the top 10, and that is going to be a hard recovery drive for him.
Races, and I did say at the start, we might quite lose a few safety cars, and drivers like Anonymous might do pretty well in this race if they can keep it on the track. Sam Kapje and Ace really battling there coming out of turn 10 and trying to get to that point of playing position. Slight
contact there between him and Ace, who has himself lost quite a bit of positions compared to having been running in the lead for a portion of this race here. Tires to the end. Saku Cho and Tony Montana going side by side through turns 13 and 14. That is not something we see every day, but now Saku has to defend not only against his teammate, but the Mercedes of Ace as well, who lunges down the inside and collides with the Red Bull driver. Saku spins and goes into the wall, and he is out of this race. Dramatic collision, and that is just devastating to see.
VSC.
And that gives us an opportunity to catch up with that incident. We'll see it here. Saku getting a compromised exit out of the final hairpin. The Mercedes lunging it down the inside, upsetting the balance of the Red Bull, and there was very, very little Saku could do to save that one. I'm sure the stewards will be taking a look at that incident after the race, for sure.
Yeah, the FIA stewards were pretty busy in the development race. We had the first one didn't see 15. We've got the VSC. You were saying about catching the replay. I was thinking about catching my breath, Savage, because it's all going on everywhere.
Well, we wouldn't have it any other way, of course. Now, an interesting development. We have Quad and Impervious diving into the pit lane for a new set of tires, and we will stay in touch with them and just see the compounds they're fitting as the battles on track resume right as if nothing had happened, and the only remaining Red Bull of Upset not wasting any time and getting past Ace, who has definitely more than damaged Red Bull's stakes on points in this race, and that is Upset into 5th position at the moment, as he has not pitted yet, while several other drivers have.
First and second at the moment, and we did have a conversation with them earlier on this week about how they feel about each of us driving, and I'll give you that information in a short while after Savage's talked a little bit more about how we think this race might go.
Great stuff, and we just saw MRL Domi having just locking up under braking and colliding actually with Ace, sending the Mercedes driver deep out of the hairpin, and the AlphaTauri driver now catching Upset, putting significant pressure on the Red Bull driver and actually having him collide with the wall of champions, just pushing a little too hard on exit from 14 and moving up another spot up to 5th place entire way. As we are jumping just between many different battles. MRL Domi in the AlphaTauri now, right on the back of Tony Montana, and Domi showing some race-winning potential pace at the moment, just elevating himself past multiple cars. He does have slightly fresher tires than everyone immediately in front of him, which is going to be crucial for his chances going forward.
Hang on. Look what I'm doing on these tires. And we've got a VSC again, and it looks like Sam Ketchay may have had an issue.
Let's see, we're going on board. Oh, he's missing his front wing completely. Wow, that must have been a severe collision, and he's pulling off potentially to let another car through. He's got a long way to limp back to the pits if that virtual safety car stays out.
And I think we might have a puncture, but maybe it's because VSC from the Williams, but I think he's just taking it easy. But yeah, I just thought that's a worse place to your front wings. Maybe had a bit of contact.
Indeed. We're going to catch up with the incident that MRL Domi had with Ace in the Mercedes a few laps ago on lap 14 here. You can see the cars approaching the braking zone. It looks like the Mercedes actually cuts in front of the AlphaTauri driver, essentially having already committed to his braking spot, and that may have been the reason for contact. Now, of course, the AlphaTauri not having any damage on board his car race, as he will have to now pit under normal racing conditions.
Yeah, I'm looking at Sky. Looks pretty okay. I don't think we're going to see any rain in this race. We've had enough incidents as it is already. But, looking at the field now, Adair's got a 10-second lead over Impervious, but he's on those 16-lap-old mediums. And, Anonymous is in there in 8th place. Alex Fritz in 7th, but quite a lot of races now kind of having their own.
But Shonen, this has got to be now or never. He's going to keep losing time if he keeps fighting with Impervious. These drivers have to get a move on, and Shonen knows he has the pace to make that overtake, getting a switchback and a much better exit against his AlphaTauri rival. Impervious twitching out the rear end, trying to put in as much throttle as he dares, oversteps it ever so slightly, and now Shonen has a phenomenal run with DRS. No contest, making it past the AlphaTauri driver and back into 2nd position. The lead here.
I mean, the first of those corners here in Canada comes pretty quickly after the start and finish line, so you've got to be sure to stick to the right after the kink in the road. We're arriving at about 320 kilometers per hour, and you need to stop braking at about 100, 150 meters on the right down, probably I would say to 4th gear. Those 2 first corners follow a DRS straight, so
and any compromise here might put him under attack from right or behind. Meanwhile, Upset and Domi trading positions on the start-finish straight. Oh, Upset carrying so much speed in the first corner that he collides with the back of the AlphaTauri driver. Domi on a brand new set of hards to the end of the race, and that is going to be very interesting to see how his pace shapes up. In DRS range, of course, staying behind and taking a deep line into the corner. An ultra late apex, very careful on the throttle, no counter steering necessary, and he's got the exact exit he wanted, moving to the outside line, opening that rear wing up. Of course, Reifler falling out of DRS from Anonymous, and that's the Ferrari driver into 7th position.
The point does count, so he's going to be hoping for at least a top 10 finish, but he's definitely making a little bit of time on the drivers in front of him, trying to maybe get himself back into a position where he's fighting for some championship points.
Oof, and Domi running deep into the first corner, getting a little carried away with an attack on Tony Montana, which then set up Tony Montana for an attempt to go around the outside of turn 2, but just unable to get the exit speed he wanted, and Domi closing him out and taking that position. We're going to go on board with Adero, who's gaining on quad at an astronomical rate, of course, on brand new medium tires compared to the old, or the, well, medium age, we can say, hards on the Williams, and Adero just chomping at the bit, over throttling slightly on exit, eager to get past his rival here, but he will need to keep those tires in check, because if he overcooks them on exit from these various slow corners, that'll put him in jeopardy for the end of the race, as these tires have to go all the way. Quad snipping the exit of turn 14, potentially not enough room left there, but so hard to go side by side, and that is Adero into 3rd position as Ace pits for softs, who has just pitted onto soft tires to the end, ambitious to travel 11 laps on those, but he is running in 8th position, and he will be making substantial gains already over the course of just a single sector, gaining a full second on Reifler, as, whoa, it looks like we have a collision, actually, carbon fiber flying from Tony Montana and MRL Domi, and that is his left end plate, the McLaren driver's left end plate missing from his car, and he is conceding now a spot to Upset, who's in the slipstream of the AlphaTauri driver, but unable to get the late braking in because of that car traveling directly in front of him, and now side by side again, down the start-finish straight is the Red Bull driver. Oh, he does the smarter thing and backs out of the move. That may potentially reward him as the McLaren of Tony Montana goes deep, but these drivers remain unchanged in their running order at the moment. And that is Impervious up at the 7th position, immediately behind Anonymous, who has in turn caught up to Quad. So these drivers are all right next to each other now, with several soft runners looking to set up a move using their much faster race tire.
And Tony Montana's actually gone ahead of Upset, but it looked to me that he took to the grass and all 4 wheels were off the curb. But Upset's trying to come back to him on the inside of T10, and he's took the inside line of there. Oh, going to be dragging all the way down to the Wall of Champions. So we've got Tony Montana is back ahead of Upset. Upset's got the DRS. They're going down that straight, so you're going to be arriving in top gear, and they're going to be going really fast on the DRS. Decent overtaking opportunity, and he's got the inside line. Upset,
oh,
and Tony's
my goodness!
Collided.
He spins.
They collided.
Oh my, that is disaster. And of course, trying to go side by side into that chicane is always such a dangerous move. We've got that on replay for you guys to show back when we have a moment from the action. And Upset, unfortunately, retires from the session. No chance for points for him, unfortunately, at this point in the race. So unfortunate, as he had all sorts of pace to gain on Tony Montana. Meanwhile, Impervious getting through against Quad, and now Quad having to defend against Anonymous. These hard tires are just not quite working out for him, but crucially, Ace unable to get past Alex Parita on the soft tires of his own choosing, and that is the DRS train helping Alex out monumentally, as now he has a front row seat for the battle between Anonymous and Quad, making it past Anonymous. Which horse do you back? He gets behind the Williams driver side by side into the chicane, being careful not to go wheel to wheel here. Of course, so much at stake, so many points at stake in this race. And now 3 wide to the first corner. They both overtake Anonymous. Ace having hung back a little bit throughout this race, now taking advantage, proving me wrong, and moving himself up into 5th position. As I had mentioned, using that overtake when it matters, he definitely did.
And going into turns 3 and 4, you've got to break starting at about 75 down to 5th. And use plenty of the inside curb, but don't go over the solid red zone. Very tempted to go over the grass in turn 4, but don't do this. Not a good thing to do.
Absolutely. So many drivers clipping, actually, a little bit of grass in those corners, as Anonymous now looks to counterattack against Alex Parita. The Ferrari driver struggling monumentally right now. These guys on the same tire compound, or perhaps it was more of a wave by to get in that DRS. We're going to get on board with so many battles here with Ace, who is looking to sneak a move past Quad. Of course, the Williams driver having run on those hard tires for the longest time. And we have two pairs of cars going side by side down the start-finish straight. That's the move decided for Ace. And Alex Parita getting back through past Anonymous, but he cuts the chicane. He cuts the chicane, and he has to let the Renault driver through, getting a little carried away on his braking point and just missing the corner back into 7th position. Well, truly having a recovery drive of sorts here on the soft tires and looking to make a move past Larson in the Williams. That is the final point gone for Larson, barring, of course, any penalties. Emerald Domi in 10th position. Well, you can't get it too low because those curbs will just spin you out and spit you out. And we see Alex Parita making yet another move on Anonymous now. Now he's using all that ERS charge, and starting lap 33 for these two drivers, he is through into 6th position. Let's see if Anonymous has enough in the tank to counter. Wow, his ERS is almost out completely. He's going to have to bide his time and make that move, you'd imagine, on the final straight of the final lap. Out of the second corner, getting so much grip on those soft tires, but unable to close down and get side by side for turn number 3. You don't want to dive that one, as it is super dangerous, but he just beats him all the way around the outside of 5. So much better traction, and Domi moving up into 9th position now, but still staying ahead, and Alex looking to be getting more and more dangerous against Quad, who's running in 5th position. Now the Williams driver will hopefully have enough ERS charge for him, obviously, to defend on this very final straight. We're just going to go with our leaders here. Shonen already having crossed the start-finish line, and Adero crossing behind him, but due to time penalties, Adero gets elevated into the 1st position. Meanwhile, the Ferrari of Alex Parita making an attack onto the Williams of Quad, unable to make the move work, and that is Anonymous and the Renault getting ahead of Alex Parita, but due to Quad's penalties, getting all the way up into 5th.
Quad is dropped to 7th position with all these time penalties, so not only did he do 22 laps on the hard tyres, he's lost a load of positions as well.
What a knuckle breaker finish to this race, with Alex just overcommitting to his move on the Williams driver, compromising his exit, and of course being overtaken by Anonymous, who gained essentially 2 spots in one move due to those time penalties. That is the Canadian Grand Prix in the books. As we move closer to the podium ceremony, Impervious is our Codemasters driver of the day. If you guys in the Twitch comments think the Codemasters people are wrong, let us know who your driver for today's race is, as our race winners ascend the podium. Indeed, we're actually going to rewatch some of this stream as well, as we still have a replay we'd like to get to. But first, the classification as it stands at the finish line, barring any stewards inquiries. Adero winning this race, managing it perfectly, knowing he had fewer penalties, and taking the first win of this season. Shonen, his teammate, immediately behind him, crossing the line first, but getting demoted due to all those infringements. You can see there 12 seconds of them. Impervious rounding out the podium. Behind them, Ace in 4th position. Anonymous getting off to a season best of 5th. Alex Parita in 6th. Quad suffering significantly in the final corners, down in 7th. Rifler in 8th. Emerald Domi wanting to probably forget this race, having started in 4th, finishing 9th. Larson rounding out the top 10 in his Williams. Behind them, Tony Montana, El Jefe, Marinos, upset. Sam Capche, Sakucho with the dramatic collision, Relapse, Replica, Moasir, and Ant.